Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's an all-you-can-geek movie cast. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinsod,
Ahoy!
and Tony
Take
Korkanakis.
two.
Yes.
So nice we did it twice. We are live right now on Twitch, Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock. Please join us for these broadcasts so you can see the goofs. If you missed the live broadcast, we're over on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, hey, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. Also, subscribe. It helps us out quite a bit. We will hopefully see you guys over there. All right. Moviecast, guys. What have you been up to? I'll kick us off, get us rolling. Silo, season 2, in the books. Great
Nice.
show. Great
Flew
show.
past me.
Yeah. You know, I did get stuck on the first episode, and then as soon as I got through that episode, I think it just clicked again.
I don't
And,
have Apple TV, so
Oh,
otherwise,
I don't
yeah.
have-
So I've not been watching Severance or Silo or anything else on there.
yeah. I mean, Mythic Quest has been excellent this season too. So I watched an episode of that too. But Silo,
Nice.
amazing show. Like Apple TV is, and Apple TV is killing it. And Severance, the most watched show for Apple now, and deserves it. I mean, it beat Ted Lasso. So it's a pretty amazing run for Apple. They really need to get their word out better because I feel like that's their problem. Is just
Well, yeah, they don't. You
Yeah.
need to spend money on advertising. You can't just be like, oh, well, we're number one for phones and personal tablet devices, but we're not gonna fucking advertise our streaming service.
yeah. And the problem was, like, I've seen Severance advertised on TV, which is good, and they're the most watched. But the problem with Severance is it's very tough to communicate what is going on in that show because I'm watching and it's tough to figure out what's going on. You know, that kind of show. So, not the best one to advertise. Like Silo is something that should be like advertised. You know, I should be able to say to my brother, which I did, hey, you got to check out Silo. Like Tim loves these. My older brother loves these kind of shows. He watches all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, Silo is right up his alley. Like Fallout may not be, that's a little too goofy for him possibly, but Silo is so I don't know. That's what I'm thinking, but Silo is much more of a
I
drama.
think you like it. Yeah.
So I think that's what yeah. Great show, great and great Mythic Quest. Mythic Quest has been awesome this season. So I felt like season 3 was okay, but this has been really good this season so far. So I really enjoyed that. That's about it besides Hot Fuzz. I don't know why I just got in the mood to watch that movie. So much fun. So much fun. That's it for me though. Tony?
Let's see. We'll start off with new stuff. So Karate Kid or Cobra Kai. Sorry, Cobra
I was
Kai.
gonna say, wait, Cobra Kai?
Final season part 2 or whatever. Because my brother and I, we paused on part 2 because there's like part 1 again spun its wheels. We're just like you're not moving the plot forward or like barely, right?
Mhm.
So now that the third and final part is out too, we're like, okay, we'll finally like get it all done in a short period of time. So we did all of part 2, and it's a little bit better, right? Because they're running out of time to resolve plot lines and whatnot, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But still,
Exactly.
like we're just coming up with things that are just awful. Like two of the side characters are getting into a squabble because the one accidentally FaceTimed his girlfriend while the other person's girlfriend was there and saw her boyfriend dancing with a woman, another girl, or something like that.
My goodness.
And it's just like, do we really need this in the final arc? Like, what is this adding to the show, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're just looking for an excuse to cause conflict between these two characters, even though they have done that throughout the various seasons, right? Like, it's not even like a new conflict. It's just two dudes that are like dude bro friends getting into yet another argument where it's going to be like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. And it's like, hug it out, man. It's like, I don't need to see this for the 5th or 6th time, whatever, I'm losing count of it.
Every season. Yeah, it's almost every season. Yeah.
And the other ridiculous thing is like there's a global, the Takai Sakai or something like that, which is the
Budokai.
world tournament or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're talking, like the way they're doing these fights is so ridiculous. They're like, we're going to do 2v2 matches. I'm just like, who does a 2v2 match? That like in a karate tournament, like that seems so weird. Like maybe as a side thing, but not like the premier thing. Not to mention it's like, oh, well, you have to eliminate all the enemy like team compositions and stuff like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like karate is not like a team sport. To my knowledge, unless it changed in the last 15
there's
years.
there's team events where you can win things if
Right.
each person wins their event.
I mean, are they tag teaming here or something? Like, what's going on?
It's so stupid. I'm sorry. Like, I hope I'm not spoiling this for anybody, but like, these people are suspended on a platform, and it's 2v2, and you have to knock your opponents off the platform. So as soon as somebody gets eliminated, somebody else from that dojo goes back in to even the numbers out. So they have to get in there quickly. But it's just so stupid. I'm just like, this is like wrestling more than it's karate, right? So it's just like, I don't know what we're doing. So anyway, whatever. We'll see the third part if it gets any better. I do hear it wraps up pretty well, so that's
good,
comforting. But right now, I'm just like, whatever.
I'll be on the net.
So there's that, and then the other big new thing I watched was Captain America: Brave New World, or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Oh.
It's all right. It's a solidly mid movie. We talked about it. I do say Anthony Mackie, the times he did give heart into the role and stuff like that. I still don't think he's a leading man, but I'm not sure if the script really gave him the opportunity to.
But like, is that the case with all the stuff? Because that seems to be like the argument is that he's not had the scripts to be that leading character. Because even in his show, you would argue he didn't really have a great like arc. Well, you know what I mean?
So here's the thing, right? Here's my issue with the movie. Mild spoilers. If you've seen any of the commercials, though, any of the previews, you know what I'm about to say. It like the movie is more about Ross, and like it's honestly more about Ross than Sam, which is completely weird because it's like this quasi sequel to the Incredible Hulk, back before the first MCU movie, where it's like,
or like Edward Norton.
Right? Where it's like, oh Betty, why won't you call me? Why won't you talk to me? I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, I do not care. We are however many years, like a decade and a half removed from this movie. Like, I don't care about that plot line. You clearly have had no interest in building up to this at any point. It's just like, so Incredible Hulk happened, and 16 years later, we decided to make Thunderbolt Ross sad about it. Like, what? Like, he's kind of a dick in 99% of his appearances. I don't care if he feels bad because his daughter's not talking to him because he's a bad dude. Like, I'm sorry. And that's the thread line for the entire movie. And it's like, holy fuck. Like, I just don't understand the writers that were like, yes, people will want to see this, right? Because it's just the entire reason. I'm like, I would not fucking do this shit for him. Like, I would not stick my neck out for this dude at all. Even though he's the president, like, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd be like, you kind of made your bed. Or, fuck around, find out. Whatever you reap or you sow, whatever analogy you want to make. I will say the good positives about the movie were it did give Winter Soldier vibes for a bit, with like the political, like, espionage. Like, there is a mystery for a while about like what's going on, who's pulling the strings, why things are happening. I will say the part that I really enjoyed was they brought back what's his name?
Leader?
Well, the leader, but the first Black Captain America from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, from the series.
He did.
Isaiah.
Isaiah, thank you. He made an appearance in the movie, so I'm glad that kind of was paid off, because it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense, right? Because we just had that movie, or that series, to lead into the movie. So that was great. I will say the CGI was mostly okay. There were some parts at the end that I'm like, you're a big budget movie. Like, why are things looking this way? But they did make Sam look cool with his new suit and his wings and his shield. He's proficient with it now, not like he was fumbling around with it in Falcon Winter Soldier series. So, it was solidly, average. I wouldn't go. I didn't. I sailed the high seas for this one because I was just like, you know what? I got like 99% of these movies under, you got my money's worth. I don't want to go to the movies.
Would you say that it sets up like things to come, or is it just trying to be on its own? Because I know they added, or not added, but they included some new things that they're probably gonna
yes
use
and
later.
No. It really depends on how Thunderbolts go.
Okay.
Interesting.
Because it could, like, some things were said and done as like, okay, well, if this directly leads into Thunderbolts, I understand, and that's cool. And if it doesn't, I'm just like, well, what the fuck was the point of this movie? So
we'll see.
There is something they introduced in this movie where you're just like, oh, okay, this is going to be relevant in some way, and it's not, and it's kind of like, oh, all right, that's a down the line thing. And this is probably the worst post-credit sequence of any Marvel movie. Like, it wasn't even funny. It was just like,
I've heard it was like the worst one.
it's like, oh, you don't even see it, but it's coming. I'm just like, yeah, no fucking shit is coming. We've had like 5 movies dedicated to this thing, right? And it's just like, it's not new. Like, maybe if you had come out before all these other ones, it makes sense. But it's like, yeah, man, like everybody saw that movie last year. Like, nobody cares. So, yeah.
All right, Corey.
Nothing new or exciting like that. Just more catching up on and staying up to date on some of the animes and stuff. So
Okay, Mike.
I didn't catch
Nada.
anything. No.
All right,
yeah, I didn't
box
even
office.
see it. I wanted to see Cap, but it's just like it's
Yeah.
not really high priority. You know,
No, it's not. For me, it faded away already. Like I'm waiting at this point. 3 more weeks for Disney Plus or whatever it's gonna be on.
Yeah. Nope.
Captain America: Brave New World was number 1 though, 28 million, a 68.3% drop. Not as bad as I was expecting after that Friday. That Friday was almost an 83% drop Friday over Friday. But yeah, it's not doing great.
Yeah, and just want to respond to the chat with Tailfei. If it came out right after Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think it would have hit better, and I agree. Again, it's just one of those things where
It's too far away.
You could contribute some of this to pandemic stuff and just the MCU getting too big too quickly, but I definitely think if this had come out like maybe 2 years earlier, probably would have done a bit better. Because now it's just kind of like we're shrugging. It's like, yeah, whatever.
Yep. And like the trailer was good. Like
trailer
it definitely got me excited. But then once we got closer and closer, it was just like
Yeah, and I also the character, who's the older black gentleman? He's on Breaking Bad. And
Giancarlo
Esposito.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't say his name. His role, awesome. Like I can't wait to see more of that. If I hope they bring him back because he played a really cool character.
They will. He's a big cast for them. They said so. Hopefully that's cool. The Monkey was number 2 opening this week, 14 million. Paddington in Peru, 6.5. Dogman, 5.8. 78 million for that show, that movie. So 40% drop for that. Pretty good. And then Hard Eyes is number 5. So there's your box office. Okay, we've got a lot of news to talk about for these movies. Let's get moving right into it, guys. John Lithgow, we talked about it last week. We heard the rumors. We have now had it confirmed. John Lithgow will play Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series.
Whoa.
Oh, good for him.
Good for him.
And apparently he's about 10 years older than I thought he was.
He's old.
Yeah.
I knew he was old.
He was alive.
I thought he was like mid. I thought he was like mid-late 70s, but turns out he's mid-late 80s.
Yeah, he's 80s. And because he was big in 1980s, he was old. You know what I mean? Like he was old then.
That's what I'm saying. Like I remember seeing what is it, Third Rock from the Sun when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And he was old then. And I'm like, well, I'm old now.
Yeah,
so you're even older.
Well,
Harry and the Hendersons.
Buckaroo Banzai. I mean, wasn't he in that? Yeah, it's like he was old.
I still expected him to be about 10 years younger than he is, but no, he's well. His quote is kind of funny. He's like, "This is going to be like the last thing I do."
I mean, that's the thing. I don't want to be morbid, but like, why do this casting, right? Because like the chances that he makes it throughout all the material they need to cover just seems really risky, right?
He said it'll be
like
87. He said it'll be 87. This will be the last chapter of his life. That's what he just said.
But for what? This first series? How old is he
now?
No,
he's 82, isn't he?
No, so he said he'd be 87 when it wraps. So what does that mean?
From this season? I thought he was 82 right now. I'm looking it up live.
Automatically 5 seasons?
He's 79. So. He's 79. He's 79. Well, so when this wraps in 7 years, he'll be 87. He's not wrong. Yeah, he's right.
So
that is
okay. So he is a little closer to the age I thought he was. That means, but I didn't know it was automatically 7 seasons. That's weird.
That's optimistic if he feels they're getting a season.
He's saying 8 seasons. Because if he's 79, he's going to get 87. That's 8.
Yeah, they might do like last books in the 3 seasons,
That does sound optimistic, but whatever, you know.
No, I obviously hope so. I don't wish anything bad. I'm just
it's so bad. Like
it's like really
we've had 2 Dumbledores already. This is the 3rd. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't know. And I don't even think he fits, but I know what they're doing here. They're trying to go completely, different with the role, like the cast. I mean, so I get it. Like they don't want to be compared to the old one at all. So I think that's what they're trying to do. But yeah, he was great in Dexter. I forgot that's right. He was the villain in Dexter. He was awesome that scene. But
Well,
Yeah.
I guess if he's something like when does this actually come out? So I guess that's true. He'll probably be like 80 before it comes out.
It's true. Yeah, they're filming it now, so season 1. So next year, yeah, it'll be 80. But they've already greenlit it because it's Harry Potter. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
they know it's going to grab. All
I hope it
right,
doesn't, but we'll see.
Andor. Andor season 2 had a trailer. Finally. April, is it April 22nd? April 22nd, coming out.
Didn't even
It
watch
looks
it.
different. Yeah, it looks different.
Didn't even watch it.
They're kind of going for a little funner tone, I think, but it's weird because I know it's not going to be. It's kind of a weird choice for a trailer. But
I already hate that I know the premise, so I don't want to even watch the trailer.
yeah,
Mm.
I got you. That show was so good though.
Like, I don't even want to
deserves
mention it
deserves
because
to
that
watch.
would potentially ruin it for somebody that's
Well,
listening.
Andar's, or isn't he like the most, not necessarily, but Cassian's probably the least interesting character on the show.
Yeah.
He's been great. I loved the season 1 with him. Like he was probably out of all the characters that brought in, it was the least interesting. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
He wasn't interesting in Rogue One to me.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm
He was
saying.
Diego
absolutely. He
Luna.
was
Well, I
way
don't know.
more interesting in Andor, the show.
Yeah,
Which again,
he was, but
recommend you guys watch. I hate Star Wars, but I'm telling you, that's a good show.
yeah, that what's his name? Andy Serkis, amazing in that show.
Yeah.
And I think he's coming back for season 2, so pretty exciting. I mean, we don't have that confirmed 100%, but I've heard it enough times, so if you watch season 1, get excited for season 2 because he was awesome in that. We'll see. More Star Wars news. Let's stick with that for now. Kathleen Kennedy, who's been running Star Wars since basically the purchase from Lucas, plans to retire by the end of 2025. No word yet to replace her as the Lucasfilm president. I'm going to go out on a limb. David Filoni or Jon Favreau. That's my 2 picks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know.
Sorry.
Filoni's great, but he's very much, as we've seen it.
Only
very
is not
animal.
great anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
He had Clone Wars and the animated stuff.
Is this one of those things when, once someone loses all the, all their hands being tied by other things, they go off the rails a little bit and then they're not.
Yeah.
No, I would agree with that.
I think it's accurate.
Taika Waititi. Yeah.
Kojima.
Yeah.
That's the. Yep.
Sounds about right, Mike. Good comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Joss Whedon.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like, it's crazy because you think about the masterwork that they've done, and you're just like, wow. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see who they replace her with, though. It's not guaranteed, obviously, who it's going to be.
I hope it's not one person. I hope it's a committee.
It might be a committee. I do feel like they're going to be looking for somebody with good ideas to bring Star Wars forward because they spent a lot of money in that franchise, and obviously they've made a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but it's got not a great reputation.
I don't
anymore.
care if it's one person. I don't even care if it's Filoni. I don't care if it's John Favreau. As long as they want to get out of that fucking original trilogy era, I would applaud them. Even if it's bad stuff, I'd be like, at least you tried. At least you tried.
I don't think those two would get you out of there. Just look at what they did with Mandalorian and stuff. They brought.
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't want either of those guys. But if they would actually move out of the fucking, plus minus original trilogy era, I would be fucking happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I
don't.
I'm good with what Tony's saying myself. Like I told you, like as a fan, don't get me wrong, I'm fine with some nostalgia stuff. We've talked about this on the podcast. I do love it, but I am totally cool with a new direction of Star Wars. Like I would love to see something fresh and new. Like don't get me wrong. So let's see what they could. I would love that's why it's like
this is your chance, your opportunities right here.
Like, it goes back to Rian Johnson. Like I'm not a big fan of The Last Jedi, but I was totally cool with him getting his own movie. Like let's see what he can do, with his own story. And I was all in on that. And then he obviously didn't get it, and I was just like, that sucks because I understand like his vision for that movie didn't fit with what I was looking for, what fans, but with his own stuff, I was excited for that.
I mean, I think that if they can figure out like there's so many stories that the legends have, right? There's so many good stories there that we just skipped over because they needed to shoehorn in Luke, Leia, and Han. And you just missed out on so many opportunities that you had. If you want to stay in that time period, there's so many other stories you can tell. So.
Right.
I agree.
And, the thing is, I even was open to like Mandalorian originally when it was like, oh shit, completely new character.
I
separate
can see
from all this other bullshit Skywalker saga
Right.
shit.
No
It lasted
Jedis.
1.5 seasons. It lasted 1.5 fucking
Wow.
seasons.
One in like 7/8 of a season. Like seriously, 1 in 7/8. The last episode of season 2
When did
is
Boba
what
Fett
brought
come into
in.
play?
That was after that wasn't that season 3, or was that season 2? Oh, that was season 2, wasn't it?
He showed up. He showed up for
Because
like
he was,
one episode.
he was in
later.
the spaceship conveniently when Luke boarded their ship.
Yeah, was he? I don't think he was.
He
I'm
dropped
gonna
him
look this
off and
up.
was like, "Bye, guys." It's
Oh,
like,
that's
"What?
right.
Why-
He did just
why the
leave him
fuck are
there.
you
He just
leaving?"
left him there. That's right. Yeah. Good point. Okay. Anyways, let's see what happens here.
Can't
Let's
get much
see.
worse, hopefully.
You want to hear about maybe something worse? Will Smith confirms Hancock 2 is in the works.
This feels so like
Late?
absolutely. Because like I could understand maybe 10 years ago, right? 'Cause even 10
Even
years
then, you
ago,
can't
like,
understand it. You don't forget how bad this movie was.
No,
Don't forget.
man, I don't.
People like
I know I watched
wasn't-
it, but I don't remember it at all.
I don't think it was like bad. Like
I remember one scene in particular from this movie about what happens when a super-powered person gets excited.
all right.
I don't remember that.
But no,
at
I
all.
just like I don't think it was necessarily a bad film, but it wasn't a good film. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It was just a film,
Yeah,
and
I didn't like the entire last half of the movie. Essentially, I didn't like.
but
yeah,
it does feel
feels-
like again
No,
another
they
one of
got- they
these
got-
sequels that don't need to be made because like or who's asking for it, and
Will Smith.
we talked about last episode. It's like we're gonna get sequels to the Goonies. We're gonna get sequels to Hancock.
Well,
It's
this
like
is
okay.
just like now when like superhero movies are like seemingly on the decline. In addition to the box office in general, it's like why would you try to bring back Hancock 2 now, right? Why not 10 years ago when it's like, oh, superhero movies are hot. Let's get everything. Everybody gets a movie. Like
Yeah, let's do a
Also, Will
redemption arc
Smith
for
is
Hancock.
not
Yeah.
necessarily like
Right.
on the top of people's minds in a good way right now either. So
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
Bad Boys brought him back.
hey, that was
I don't
fun.
know.
Yeah.
Was that
I didn't get to
before or
watch that
after?
yet. I still have to watch that. So
The other problem is the whole concept of Hancock, where a superhero kind of sucks. We've done that a lot lately. It was kind of a novel idea back then in 2006
Yeah.
or whenever this first came out.
yeah.
Now it's like we've had, the Injustice stuff, we've had Invincible, we've had The Boys,
Yeah.
and while Hancock isn't evil, he's still kind of sucks. So it's not as unique as it used to be.
True.
Imagine if they have him like slapping someone unduly in this movie. That's a Hancock thing. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
That would be funny. All right, James Bond news, guys. Amazon MGM gains creative control of the 007 franchise. Prior to this, obviously, Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson were making the direction decisions on the franchise. They were actually very protective of that franchise quite a bit, not allowing them
Overly
to.
so. Overly so.
Yeah, I would say overly.
Maybe. Yeah.
So they're stepping back to focus on other projects. That's the reasoning. But I do think Amazon
Counting
won
money
this
is a
argument. Yeah. I think Amazon won this argument by just saying, "Here's money, just go away and let us do our thing."
Yeah.
What's
So-
concerning or interesting about this is they just earlier, like months ago, said, "Oh, the pitches we're getting from Amazon are really dumb."
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that, and I do think that's what Amazon was like. You know what? Listen, we want to start this stuff. We own this franchise. Essentially, they own it almost. They just bought them out. I think, like Tony said, I think it's just a buyout and just we want to make a movie. Because
Here's money.
how
go
long
the
can you
fuck
go?
away?
Yeah, they invested already in Bond. If they're not allowed to make a movie, what are they doing? They're
Right.
wasting their. That's time is
Like
money.
basically, it's like how
Yeah.
much? Like just name your price, and
Yep.
then here it
Fuck
is.
Yep. So we'll see where the franchise goes after this. I don't know who's going to get cast. I don't. We'll definitely get some news soon. I'm going to bet you next year we'll have a whole bunch of news for this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they'll want to hit the ground running. It's not something.
Yep.
Because I imagine, like I'm kind of curious. Would television be better? Like a TV series be better than a
Maybe.
movie? Because I feel like
I don't think.
I
I
feel
don't
like
think it was
the-
allowed before. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Because I just think when you do James Bond movies, like you're kind of boxing yourself into like the typical blockbuster popcorn flick movie where it's like, okay, first hour and a half is like a little bit of intrigue, this, that, and the other thing, reveal of villain, betrayal, whatever, and then the last half or last third, it's like, you know, nonstop, high octane action, which, you know, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But for me, like, I couldn't watch another James Bond movie with that formula. But if they moved to a TV series, I think that would kind of allow that formula to change up a little bit. But that's just my thought process there.
I don't know. I do think I'm looking forward to a movie aspect of it, but I don't know how it would work as a series.
I think they need to pivot. Story. Just because, not that you can't have more like these same type of things, but Mission Impossible's just been doing it and doing it better for a while now. And it's like,
yeah. I think that the way Daniel Craig brought it for the first movie was great. After that, it tailed down and down and down, and you know, I think you need to return back to a little bit more of the suave James Bond. Mike will be happy to hear that one because I know he was a big part of that with the Pierce Brosnan part. And hey, why not a reunion?
I just think
why not a Pierce Brosnan older Bond?
I just think a political drama or, you know, espionage more so than the action spy thing would just be better. I mean, we talked about, like, you know, Severance and you know, even Fallout.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Just people want character dramas, I think, these days. Like, they don't really care so much about, oh yeah, this guy's a spy, high tech gadgets, and that's the whole movie. There you go, folks. Like, okay, cool. We'll see.
All right. Punisher special presentation isn't officially in the works at Marvel Studios. John Bernthal will return.
This is cool.
Yeah, this is great.
I watched the second season of the old show. Probably
I don't know
not.
if I finished it, actually. I don't know if I finished that season.
No, because that was like one of the last things they did.
We knew it.
Yeah,
we knew it was out.
So I was like, just
whatever.
Yeah, interesting.
But I mean,
We'll see.
So apparently,
a lot of hype building into this.
Yeah, Daredevil's getting really good buzz. So
yeah, it's getting very good buzz. Like people have said that first episode is going to hit really well. Like, there's no, it just goes. It goes. That's what I've heard. I don't know anything about it yet. I haven't watched it, but I've just heard. Don't expect a lot of just
to Disney Plus for
breath.
A while.
Take a breath. Yeah. So there you go. That's a victory for Disney right there by itself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how long's it been?
A small victory, but one nonetheless.
Well, I think, you know, the thing is, I can't imagine I'm the only one like that, right? I'm not saying I expect a lot of people, but like Mike was saying, you vote with your wallet. So, you know, I was there for X-Men 97, and, you know, I'll be there for this, you know.
George R. R. Martin says there are talks about making an Elden Ring movie.
Fuck off.
Your favorite guy. It's everyone's favorite guy on this podcast.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
This
Elden Ring movie, guys. Do we want first of all, do we want an Elden Ring movie? Forget who's behind it.
Doesn't matter what we want. It's gonna happen. You don't sell 30 million copies of a new IP and you don't get a movie made. It's happening.
I just don't think.
Yeah, that's another thing that'd probably be better in a TV format,
Yeah,
like
sure.
a boss an episode or something.
Yep.
It's like, why it kind of writes itself in a way. You don't have to worry
if they
about
don't
it.
tie in the amount of deaths the character has, then it's not worth the effort. They better die like 800 times during the movie. Seriously, like that's part of the game's charm. Like, you know what I mean?
They
Like,
can
that's
write
the
that
idea.
in. I mean, that's the whole plot.
Absolutely.
Like you die, you're tarnished, and you come back.
Yeah.
You can't die.
So that's what I'm hoping to see something about that. Martin wrote the stuff for that. Obviously, they had him write a lot, so I'm not surprised. But
like, he is actively trying to avoid. He's actively avoiding writing his own books and doing anything else he can except finish them, because I don't think he can live up to the expectations that he put on.
I think he wrote himself into a corner and he had no idea how to get. He has no idea how to get out.
In addition to that, I'm not disagreeing with those things. I think he saw the reception to the ending and was like, oh, people don't like this. And that broke him. I honestly think that broke him, like his will. Because he's like, well, now he's committed, right? Because he's got
to fix it.
Right.
Like, that's the thing.
Right?
He's
So
got
that's
to
what you do. You
fix
fix it
what...
and you commit to it. Right? And fixing it is way harder, I imagine, than be like, because how many, you know, chapters, hopefully they do right by the time that the finale aired, and it's like, oh, fuck. People think this is a stupid ending. Fuck me. Which it is. I'm sorry, but that was a terrible
Do you think
ending.
that, like, most of that was his, though? Like, that's the thing.
Absolutely. I mean,
well, I think a lot of that was outlined.
The execution was not his. But when he's like, these are the key
these are the
points.
characters.
Like, this
Their
is the reveal. This is
subplots,
who's
yeah.
going to be the new king. This is what happens to Daenerys. Like, that is all. This is who kills the Night King. That's all dumb. That's all fucking dumb. Like, I'm sorry. I could just pin names to a dartboard and just throw darts randomly and be like, the Night King is killed by, the wolf. Sure. Like, I could accept that. Rather than fucking Arya Stark, who's like a human
Comes out of
assassin.
nowhere.
It's like, what? She's not prepared for this at all. What are you talking about? Like, it has nothing to do with her plot, her character plot at all. Fuck off. Oh, God, don't get me started. I'm done.
Yeah, we're good.
I'm done.
All right, let's move on to Sifu. A film for Sifu is in the works. With Netflix, T.S.
Another
Nowling to
roguelike
write the
type
script.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they try to incorporate the aging when you lose or
I'm
die.
sure they have to. Right?
Again,
That's
we
a
just
part
talked
of
about
the,
the death
the
thing.
game,
Yeah,
right?
big part of the game, right?
Yeah, but you could also do a clean run and never even engage with that.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, video game movies getting announced, a lot of them.
Weird.
So big shock.
Any IP that's on the table, and I'm sure that one
Yeah.
wasn't like that particularly expensive, so they're like, go for it.
Sure. Yep.
They can work with it. So, all right. I think it's going to wrap up the Moviecast, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, we're live. Twitch, Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. We have the Gamecast coming up next. Stay tuned for that. If you miss all these live broadcasts, though, YouTube, all the content's over there. Once again, we'll see you guys on the Gamecast. We are out.